As I progressed through primary and secondary school, I started to be accustomed to what I was capable of doing. I did plenty of extracurriculars, took hard classes, played sports, and volunteered to help develop my personality. I jumped all over the place with all sorts of activities, but then I found marching band. At the beginning of high school, I had no idea what marching band could entail to do for me. I merely thought it was just another activity, but everything clicked very quickly as I developed as a person throughout my time in marching band. Over the long 4 years of the activity, I started to understand my place in everything I was doing. I decided to then take my talents further and audition for the United States Army All-American Marching Band. And this would really tell me if I really learned and developed as a person. And the marching band I came from helped me develop my technique as a drummer and also my personal skills to help me in the real world. And that was a very big thing that this ensemble looked in for the selection progress of the students. They were extremely select on who they let in, with about 3,000 applicants for 125 spots. I submitted my application with a very high head, and after 3 months of waiting, they finally let me know that I had been selected. I spat out my pizza bagel I was eating at the time and ran down screaming to my mom. I felt at ease knowing that what I learned was sought out by others. Many tears were exchanged by my parents and close family in success of this. But I knew this was not the end of the celebration and the pursuit of my person. After my selection, they held a ceremony for me to be inducted into the ensemble. This ceremony was my chance to give a student insight in how it is so rewarding to put yourself into something better than you. I had to accept my position in the ensemble and give my remarks on the whole process to my fellow peers and family in the form of a speech. And I knew the speech could be my chance to help change the thoughts of many other people around me. Leading up to when I had to speak, I put a lot of thought into what I needed to do so that people could understand who I've become and what it took to get there. I would be speaking to my whole school, which included many middle schoolers who have yet to truly find their niche that will help them understand who they really are. I really wanted to get my message out to them that with whatever you do in your time moving up to when you have to move on with everything, that putting yourself into an activity can help you shape for success if you put time and effort into it. I knew this would be an opportunity to help change the outputs. It took a lot for me to get accepted into this marching band, and it took more than just being a good drummer. I needed to show versatility and pride for the activity I did. It is merely a reflection of what I learned and how I developed for the rest of my life. It finally came to the day that I had to do dry runs of my speech to my parents, and I wanted to watch them as I read my words, so I wanted to see their emotions and their expression as I gave out my words. And then a whole range of emotions flooded out my body as I was speaking out my words. I realized how great of connections I made with my friends and how I developed as a person. After I finished, I looked at my parents who were in tears of pride over how happy they were who I became, and I wanted to make this speech as strong as possible, and seeing them this happy had told me that this was the right speech. And they told me constantly how they're really proud of me. After this speech was ready, I now had to just get mentally ready for this ceremony. The event finally came up. I was all dressed up, bow tie and all, and nervous as heck for this ceremony. I did not want to mess up the speech and make a bad impression. I was pacing around the whole school waiting for them to tell me it's my time for the ceremony to happen. I was called to the auditorium to have the ceremony start, and I kept telling myself, you gotta get it together and show the people that you care about what you love. The ceremony itself was very long. I sat under a hot spotlight for about 40 minutes until I was allowed to say anything to anyone. It was an unbearable pain to sit for my impending doom, but I was still so eager to get my message out. All I could think about was if I was going to stutter like I always do. They finally presented my award and gave me the opportunity to speak on my behalf. I began very shaky, stuttering a lot. I had never expected to be so scared for something in my life. Nothing could have prepared me for all the eyes watching and taking note of my every action. I had a very rough start. I couldn't really get my words out the way I wanted to, and it was very dry. It seemed like no one was caring. But then it took a turn after I took a drink of water. I gave myself a mental slap in the face, and I really felt the emotions in my words, and I felt down to earth. I kept speaking and showing the audience that becoming something better than yourself is not just being good at something. It's putting everything you have into it and taking it out to help yourself. The young kids were glaring in awe as my words kept coming out. I was out of words, and before me was a standing crowd of claps, and it filled the room. I felt salty tears hit my lips, and I knew my heart fell out. Many of my peers then congratulated me for the event, and then my 4th grade band director came up and told me, "I'm proud of the adult you've turned into, Charlie. You showed all of us music educators that it doesn't we don't make a better musician, but rather a better person. And many people then got pictures with me and was very impressed of what I achieved with my words. A few months after the event, I had many 8th graders message me about how excited they were to join marching band and they were inspired by what I said. All the young kids knew who I was at the ceremony, and I felt like I was being looked up to by all of them. I accomplished my goal, telling them that you really shouldn't put yourself into something just because you're good at it, even though you could be good at it. You should really put yourself into something that you feel both you can develop your talents and become a better person. After that year, my high school marching band gained 30 new people compared to last year, the biggest increase in years. I'm not saying that I had anything to do with it, but I believe that I was able to get my words out well enough. My speech at this event was very important for many people to understand that I do what I love so I can take as much as I can out of it. I myself was not successful because I was able to make this ensemble, but rather I was successful because I shaped the minds of generations to come and reassured all educators of what they had in mind when showing the world about music. And I helped show the kids and generations to come that finding a niche and developing yourself as a person will help you in life, like it did mine.